Hello everybody, welcome to my Flosstube. My name is Amy. I'm Fiber Arts Amy here and on Instagram. It has been a while. I am back today for a Flosstube. I have no idea what number, but I'll write it down below. And I'm really excited to be back. Basically I just had a really busy summer. That's why I didn't film. A really busy summer. Which I'll talk about more a little bit later, but part of that was just kids at home, right? My kids are back at school now. Today is Tuesday, September 5th, I believe, 2023. Kids are back at school. They have been for about a week and a half now. So I'm trying to find my new normal around the house, but that's good. I have a little more time. I'm going to talk about some more stuff later. I do have some kind of special announcements I want to talk about later in the video, so stick around if you want to hear about that. I'll explain a little bit more about why my summer has been so busy. But because it's been so busy, not only have I not had time to film, I haven't had time to do a ton of stitching. Now I'm me, so I've touched like 1,000 projects, right? And I'm not going to be trying to show you everything I touched today. I'll show you most of it. I'll show you, there's projects that just got a couple of stitches. I did a certain amount of decluttering and kind of changing my organization this summer. I didn't actually UFO anything because I'm me and I don't UFO things, but I did kind of go through my stitching area down here. And I pulled a lot of projects that I just really are not a priority, that I wanted to start, and I one day I'll finish, but they're nothing I want to particularly touch in the immediate future. And I just put them in a bin and I got them out of my immediate stitching space. Because a lot of my older projects, like much older projects, I do want to make a priority. And I do want to get some of these things, not in a rush to get them done, but I want to be touching them more frequently. So, anyway, I just, did some reorganizing. That took up some of what would have been stitching time. For those of you who are interested in hearing news about the Queen City Stitch Retreat, just super quick, because I don't have a lot to say. I don't want to take up much Flosstube time with that today, but, it is coming up in a month, less than a month, I think now, in Charlotte. I'm so excited to get to see a lot of you there. Maggie and I have booked dates for a 2024 retreat. The 2024 retreat will not be an official Mirabilia retreat. We talked about maybe doing Mirabilia like every other year or something. Of course, that depends a lot on Nora too. But next year we're thinking about doing just more a general stitching retreat. Because Maggie and I have a lot of other interests too, like chatelaine and whatnot. So anyway, you can watch the space. We're not ready to announce the dates to all of you yet, but there will be a 2024 retreat. I can say that. We're very excited about the 2023 retreat. Maggie has a lot more of the last minute stuff to do because she's down in Charlotte. I had a lot more of the front end kind of stuff to do. So that isn't taking up too much of my time right now, but that certainly has been part of my summer, getting stuff ready. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start showing stitching. And this is not going to be in any particular order, and it's not, I'm sure I'm going to be jumping around all over the place. Talking about my stitching. Oh, I hope I didn't lose a needle. Nope, I didn't. Because it's just been a scattered summer, and I'm me. You guys are used to me by now. Okay, first thing I'm going to show is my Royal Holiday. I've talked about her before. I'm going to get her done before the retreat. I should say I'm only doing this part. I'm not doing the whole thing. Some of you are probably looking at this being like, what does she think she's going to get a queen done in a month? I'm not going to get the whole thing done. I am just stitching basically this cowl up around her neck and her head, and it's almost done. So I'll get this done. I actually want to turn this into a pillow and bring it to the retreat. I have a plan for it for the retreat, which those of you who are going will see it, and I'll show it on here when it's fully finished. But since I'm only doing part of her, I've gotten to the point where I'm going kind of top down and completing colors, and so I went ahead and started putting in beads. You can see her really nicely. I started putting in beads and Krynic. And I just need to fill in some spaces here. I obviously need to backstitch the face and just finish filling in that cowl part. And that needs to get done. I've been working on that a lot of evenings. I need to figure out, I grabbed these projects from like all different parts of my house. And I'm not sure the best way to get them back where they need to go. All right, something else I worked on. I was missing my full coverage. I hadn't worked on full coverage in a while. So I pulled some back out here in the last few weeks and made some good progress. Although none of my full, I only just started doing full coverage pretty recently. So like Haid type full coverage, and like this is Golden Kite. No, I'm not talking dimensions, but like these sorts of things. So none of them are super far along. But I worked a bit on Indolence. I fell in love with her last year when I was stuck in bed recovering from an ankle surgery. There's not a lot to see here. Oh, there's my needle. I'm having like needle issues today. Sorry about that. And some of this is so light, it's very hard to see. But that's where I am. I don't even think I'm at 1% on this yet, but that's okay. I had fun, and I'm still having fun. She'll get done one day. I'm not in a huge rush. Oh, sorry, I just got a message from my husband I will deal with later. Okay, some of you know I've fallen in love with these bags. So these, I think they're nylon bags you can get from Fat Quarter Shop. Some other places, some LNSs carry them too, but I believe they're manufactured by Fat Quarter Shop. And then Shepherd's Bush, who I love, has designed all sorts of patterns to go on these bags because you can cross stitch on them. You can see that. They're like, you stitch with pearl cotton, number 5 pearl cotton. They are like quick and easy and fun, and I really like Shepherd's Bush aesthetic. So I've kind of fallen in love with these. So I've done a couple more here recently. They're like, they don't take a lot of energy, if that makes sense. Like sometimes at the end of the day, I just don't feel like I have the mental energy to like follow a pattern and stitch. You know, some things just take more energy from you, some stitches do. Right, like a Teresa Wenzler or a Chatelaine, I would say, are like kind of top of that, how much energy it takes to get them done. Mira is somewhere in the middle, depending on what part of the Mira you're doing, right? Like a face, I'd say, is high energy. For me, big block and a skirt is pretty low energy, but these are like super low energy. These are kind of the easiest stitching I have. And I just find them satisfying and fun and a quick finish. I'm actually waiting for the buttons. I ordered the buttons because there are some buttons that go on this. But once the buttons come, I can attach those real quick. And this one will be done. Leave that here. And then I also, this one doesn't have buttons. But this is the Halloween one. So these bags come in lots of different colors. And Shepherd's Bush picks the color of the bag to go with like what they're doing. I'm just also noticing, you see my, I don't know if you can see, my pointer finger and my pinky finger are kind of blue. I've been doing a lot of dyeing this summer. Again, I'll talk about that more later, but if you're wondering why I have 2 fingers that look purpley colored, I'm not injured. I just had a glove that broke yesterday. Anyway, this is just like a quick, fun, easy finish, and I've definitely been getting in the fall mood. I really loved summer. I was so busy this summer, busier than I want to be, but I had a blast. I probably enjoyed summer as much as I've ever enjoyed a summer, but I'm ready for fall. We're like in the middle of a heat wave right now too. So anyway, this was my, like, I just wanted to stitch something fall that I'd actually finish, you know, in time for Halloween this year. So, and there's some other spooky stitches that I need to get out and work on. But this was just something that I could start and finish. Okay, what else? I am still working diligently with Lisa, who's Crossed by Floss, on Garden Beauty from Mirabilia. I'm not going to pull up a picture because she's close enough that you get the idea. So we've been making, we didn't get to stitch on her as much as we'd like to this summer, again, just because we are both busy, but I feel like it was my fault. I had a lot going on. But we've still made progress. I was really hoping to have this done before the Mirabilia retreat, and I think that's a really tall ask at this point, especially because Lisa and I only work on it when we're chatting. But I'm gonna give it a try. We're actually gonna meet twice this week, and now that my kids are back in school, and see what we can accomplish. So that's Garden Beauty. She's one of Nora's earlier Mirabilia designs. But I really love her. Really, really, really love her. Making piles of what rooms things need to go back into. Okay, I have continued working on, just here and there, on, this is called Good Neighbors. It's a Polyvonne. I'll just unroll the whole thing. So I purchased this. They sold it as complete. I think. Did they sell it as complete or nearly complete? I'd have to go back actually and look at my old Flosstubes to know. They might have sold it as just needing back stitching or something. I know it came, or when I looked at it, I was like, oh, it's not as complete as they think it is. But that's okay. It still needs a lot of back stitching, and it needs some X's here and there too. But I've been working on mostly back stitching, and I love how it looks. Like there's, and just like a Dimensions or anything, you know, DreamWorks, the back stitching absolutely makes the whole thing come alive. Like the detailing in the tablecloth, all the wood planks over here. The quilt still has a lot of back stitching that needs to go into it. The floorboards, I've done some of it, but not all of it. The post, the house, the trees, I've just started doing the back stitching in the trees. The porch, the house, like there's so much back stitching to do. So I pick that up from time to time, and I've been thinking about how I'm gonna finish it. I'm actually thinking about finishing it into a quilt. Who was I watching earlier? I was watching somebody this summer. Was it Lala D Stitches? I don't think it was Kelly from Pages and Stitches. Somebody, or was I talking to somebody in person? Somebody I met at one of my retreats, or somebody on a Flosstube. And if it's you, tell me, because I cannot for the life of me remember who it was. Somebody said they had stitched a bunch of those, and then they'd been finished into a quilt. Who was that? Like they'd stitched, was it the 12 quilts? Polyvonne has like a quilt for all seasons, I believe. It's like 12 different quilt pattern, like cross stitches of quilts for each of the months. Was it that? I can't remember, and I apologize. I want to remember so badly which one of you did that, but it's kind of inspired me to think about a different way to finish that. And I'm thinking about finishing it into a quilt. I don't know if I'll finish it into a big quilt or into a wall quilt. Probably a wall quilt. I don't know, but I think it would look great with some quilt blocks around it to like border it. I don't know. Let me know what you think, and if you know who I'm talking about, or it's you who stitched a bunch of them into a quilt, or you had a family member who did it, please tell me who you are, because I'm blanking and not remembering. All right, chatelaine. I am not going to bring out my Egypt mandala garden because I didn't work on it. I'm not sure that I worked on it at all this summer. Again, with family and kids around, it's just a lot harder to do. It's harder to get the focus and the brain space to do it. For me, it is. Because usually I'm up and down like constantly. I don't really sit and stitch in big chunks during the summer. But what I did start was this pineapple by Chatelaine, which I've shown you this before, but this is what got some work this summer. when I had a block of time on a Wednesday to stitch, I would pull out this oh my goodness, pineapple block. My husband really loves it. It's really beautiful when it's done. You can see I did a lot of the border. That's a lot easier stitching. This the pineapple is like fractional city in there. But it's fun. It's a fun little stitch, and it feels much more approachable for me than my chatelaine. And honestly, it's a lot easier to get up and down out of this chair. That my chatelaine, the Egypt Mandala Garden, it goes from like arm to arm of this chair, and like it's a process to have to get out, like to move it and get out when I need to get up to do something. This I can pull out like while I'm working on dinner or something and, you know, be in and out. I also love this fabric. It's 30 count Mariner's Map Legacy Linen. I love it. I love the color of it. It's like slightly oat milky or something. It's beautiful. I really like it. I do not do a good enough job showing you bags and things. This one is made by Rachel. I actually have a bunch of this fabric that I've been saving to make a quilt with, and I need to get on that. I pulled it out actually this summer, so it would be like visible. If it's like visible and out and seen, it's more likely to get made into something. This one is Kathy's Posies, who I love. Love their bags. Okay. This next one's going to be hard to show because I don't think I have... Do I have a photo of the finished piece? This is from a magazine, and I own the magazine, but I photocopied, I made a working copy. Oh good, I do have a picture. Alright, so this is from Cross Stitcher. I don't think this magazine exists anymore. British cross-stitch magazines, by the way, can I just say are the best. I don't subscribe to... No, that's not true. I still have a digital subscription to Cross Stitch World, or World of Stitching, whatever it is. I used to love getting these British magazines. They were so good. But this is this giant Flower Fairies chart, and I started this it's actually one of the first cross stitches I started, but it pretty quickly got put away. I'm not sure if I'm going to do this checkerboard background. I might do something... I might do it. Or I might do something different. I feel like that might be a good place for like some satin stitches, or like they each have a little bit of different texture. And I'm wondering about putting some specialty stitches in there instead of the cross stitches. I don't know why. I want to make a little change to it, but I think it needs something there. But the poem says, "The Secret World of the Flower Fairies." Flower Fairies were these poems and drawings by Cicely Marie Barker, I believe her name was. Some of you, I'm sure, have heard of this. It says, "Where are the fairies? Where can we find them? We've seen the fairy rings they leave behind them. When they've danced all night, where do they go? Lark in the sky above, say, do you know? Is it a secret? No one is telling? Why, in your garden surely they're dwelling. No need for journeying, seeking afar. Where there are flowers, there fairies are." I love that. And there's lots of charts that have come out with like individual or, like individual images of flower fairies. I just love that this had a ton of them all together. I think it's beautiful. So I made progress. I didn't make a lot of progress, but I made progress. When I started this, back 19 years ago when I started this, or, 18 years ago, whatever, I put in that lettering and I put in this lighter skin tone. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. That's all I done. I added in this and I started the green, and I just did this the other day. So I've pulled this back out, and this needs to start getting routine attention. I love this piece. It's huge. I want it done in my lifetime. So I don't know the best place to put this. Anyway, this is one of those old designs that I just kind of got put away, and it just hasn't come back out. It needs to come back out. I want to get it done. So there's my flower fairies. Hopefully you'll be seeing that consistently from now on. Okay, this one I just started, and I posted it to Instagram the other night and got like a huge response for it. This is called My Goddess. It's from Magic Needle. Now, I had a ton of people message me and ask if it's still available. It is still available. I searched for it, and I just Google searched it, and a ton of listings came up. Cross Stitch Boutique was one. Let's see. Oh, I don't have it in here. All right, let me talk about Cross Stitch. Sorry about that doorbell. My food is here. I'm gonna pause for one moment, and I'll come back and talk about Cross Stitch Boutique. Okay, sorry about that. My groceries are being delivered. Cross Stitch Boutique, I've talked about before. Love their shop. It's relatively local to me. It's an online only store, I believe. It's somewhere in Pennsylvania though, which I'm in Pennsylvania. I feel like I had obviously fast shipping. Things got to me quickly. I love their fabric. But then they kind of went AWOL for a while. And I didn't really feel like I could recommend them when they kind of went AWOL. I still had a piece of fabric that was out. Like an outstanding order. I didn't hear anything about. Anyway, they're back though. So they sent out an email. I would say it was kind of like a mea culpa, like, hey, I'm sorry guys, things happen and we messed up and I'm sorry and I'm gonna make it up to you and we're back and we're gonna move forward kind of email. So I just want to leave that there. Take your, I would order from them again. I would at least give them another chance, right? I appreciate the fact that they kind of explain the situation, and I don't know if there's people out there with bigger concerns than I have, right? Like I had one cut of fabric that had kind of went AWOL for a really long time. But in general, I'd say I've had great service from them. And it's a small business and things happen sometimes. So I'm happy continuing to order from Cross Stitch Boutique. I didn't order from them for many months. They had stopped updating their website. I wasn't hearing about my fabric, and I was like, okay, something's up. I'm not going to keep ordering, right? Because I don't know what's happening. But at this point, I would order from them. So I don't know, like tentative endorsement for them, I would say at this point. That's what's up with Cross Stitch Boutique. But and I don't know the owner personally. I don't know, like, you know, what was really up. They're not paying me anything. It's just my take on the situation. You should know there was a situation with them where there might be unhappy customers. But they at least say they're trying to fix it. And they did send me my fabric, and my fabric is absolutely beautiful. And I wish I had it handy to show you, but I don't think I do. So anyway, I started this the other night at the cabin, My Goddess. It's been on my mind forever because look at, I'm sorry about the glare. Look at those colors. Oh my God. It's stunning. Now, one thing I am going to do is smooth out her skin. I don't think I'm going to bother with the dress necessarily, but there aren't much in the way of fractionals in here. I will probably, which is what I do when I stitch a Mira anyway. I know some people follow the instructions and like only put like quarter stitches or whatever where there's a symbol for one. I don't. I make up my own stitches to like live within the back stitch line the way I'm going to be happy with them. I'm just going to do the same thing for her. I'm just going to smooth out her skin. But other than that, I'll stitch it as charted with all the kit materials. I got a very pathetic start on this. Very pathetic. I don't want to show you the chart. You guys should know, because some people hate them, they are full color charts. But they're big and easy to read. I like them. This is all I got done. right in the middle. It's like, I don't even know if it's a dozen stitches. It might not be. That's all I got done. But that's okay. I brought it home with me, so it's not going to live at the cabin anymore, and hopefully it can get a lot more attention. There's all the beautiful floss. The colors, man, it just, oh, the colors are beautiful. Absolutely, I'm a little tangled, but absolutely love the colors, and I cannot wait to see that one come alive. Sorry about the zippers and stuff. Alright, I have a little bit of haul to show in a bit, but I'm going to show you what I've been working on first. This one is Spring Memories. I'm trying to show the chart. I believe Spring Remembered Part 2. I'm stitching this with Kelly from Pages and Stitches, which is pages 3 stitches, and I will link her below. Kelly, I'm sure, is kicking my butt on this. She's a much faster stitcher, I think, than I am. She also focuses much better than I do. She sticks to, like, a small group of projects, whereas I'm, like, all over the place. But this is what it's really hard to see some of those colors on camera. But that's where I am so far. Making progress, slowly but surely. And of course I jumped around because I wanted to get my piece looking nice and colorful as soon as I could. So I've done part of the fence there, part of the bonnet, working on this, started the quilt, and some of the like flowers and stuff in the background there. So yeah. And this is on Craft Store linen. Charles Craft linen. I have to put everything away or I will lose it. Of course, now I don't even know how long I've been talking because I had to restart the video. That's okay. I don't know that I've made any progress on this since I showed you last. Maybe, I think I have. Maybe? I don't know. This is, I'm stitching this with, and actually I think Kelly from Pages and Stitches is starting it too. I have watched very little Flosstube this summer. I've just been too busy. So I'm sorry about that. I'm a little out of the loop. This is In Her Garden, which I started with, oh my God, I'm gonna blank. Lady Lugana, Sarah, Lady Lugana, who, if you haven't checked out her Flosstube, please do. I love her stitch. I love her videos. All the people I'm mentioning today are people I adore. I love their videos so much. But this is, you can get this. It's currently available, Dimensions Gold Kit. She's just beautiful. So yeah, I don't remember if I've stitched on this at all since I showed you last, but when I was doing my reorganizing, this was one of the pieces that had to stay near the top of my pile that I really want to get some good time in on her. So, not a whole lot, but she'll get done eventually. So this is my, oh, that went through. I didn't want that to go through. This is my full coverage piece that I'm focusing on the most. I'm really enjoying it. This is a golden kite called Young Mother Sewing. I do really like the patterns available on Golden Kite's website. So I'm at like 7-point-something%. And I was going like symbol by symbol across here, and I have to say then I just started jumping around. more, I'm like, you know, there's some areas where you almost can get like big blocks of color. Like her hair has a ton more that's like big blocks of color. There's sometimes I'm in the mood to do more confetti, and sometimes I'm like, I'm looking for something that's easy to get finished. I'm not gonna go pick a color way over here in the middle of nowhere, but if I'm like, oh, I just really want a big block of color right now, I will definitely, like, and I can count to it easily. There's times when that's what I do. That's what this was all about, this color here. There was a bunch of it. Oh, and that was also to anchor. Actually, I did that to anchor this. So I had this really long float that I kept snagging on the back. So I put in some yellow to anchor that down. But yeah, I'm happy with my progress on that. Hopefully it'll keep moving along. There's a bin back there, so I'm not just like throwing something behind the chair. It's going in a bin. This one, do I do this faster? I feel like I'm going very quickly. Do I do this faster than I used to? This is Emerald Mermaid from Mirabilia. Love this one. I stitched on this one quite a lot this summer. I've been stitching on her at retreats and then falling in love with her, and I can't put her down, so I just keep going. I'm stitching her on a navy blue linen from Wisholt. Wisholt had the color I wanted. I'm looking for something to hold behind it. I don't want to show you the chart. That's the chart for Good Neighbors. Here, is this better? That's a little bit better. So there's my progress on Emerald Mermaid. And she looks almost done, doesn't she? I should make some progress on her and get her finished up. She was the first Mirabilia mermaid, or one of the first. This one that I fell in love with. This one and the one that has a tail that looks like a quilt that I can't remember the name of. It's got a compass rose on it. It's a really early mermaid, and her tail looks like a quilt because I'm a quilter. These were the two mermaids that I fell in love with first. And the only change I'm making is, I need to put in a little bit of Krynic. This color of seaweed here was supposed to be this same color of DMC. And it doesn't show up well on the fabric because that really dark green is just too close to the dark green of the fabric. So I changed it to a water lily. So there's also some of that dark green, like you can see this DMC here. It doesn't show up well on the fabric, but it's got this Krynic on the outside of it. And I thought about changing the Krynic too, but it's kind of hard to see on film or on camera, but it looks really good in person. It's very, very sparkly and beautiful. I could just sit here and hold up Emerald Mermaid all day. She's beautiful. I need to take her with me to the Mirror retreat so I can work on her. She's just become my retreat piece. She's very easy, a good piece to work on while I'm having conversation and stuff, so she'll go with me. Not that I'm thinking I'm gonna actually get that much stitching time at the Queen City Stitch Retreat, but I'm gonna take it with me anyway. Okay, this is horribly embarrassing. I ordered this. I gotta get the right one. I love Lindy Stitches. I joined this the Ruffled Feathers. So it was a class that was held at the end of July, and I didn't get to do it, and I still haven't finished my piece. It was a finishing class. The kit came with all the materials to finish the piece. I've got this whole finishing kit in here. The class was with Lady Dot Creates. I believe I still have access to the class, and I need to do it. I really want to finish it, get it finished. I hope they still have access to it, but I'm gonna finish it one way or the other. One way or the other. I'm gonna finish it. I'm gonna finish it. That's what I'm trying to say. So I did change the colors. I have these, I have a collection of Splendor Silks, and they're the same company that does Rainbow Gallery, like the Petite Treasure Braid. There's a needlepoint store about 45 minutes for me, which is the closest thing I have to an L&S. And the needlepoint store, so they carry a lot of different Splendor fibers. They don't carry Petite Treasure Braid. They carry the thicker Treasure Braid, but not Petite Treasure Braid. They carry silks. So anyway, here's where I am, using my own colors. I just need to finish stitching this. But we went to my parents' house this summer. We went to my in-laws. I went to North Carolina to help prepare for the Queen City Stitch Retreat. We went to visit my in-laws in Virginia. I went for a weekend to Keepsakes. I went to one of their one-day retreats with Catherine from Needleberry Stitcher, which was awesome, which I'll tell you more about in a little bit. And then it was just like, right, kids and swim meets and just a summer of busyness. This I'm getting pretty close on. This is my block. I'm just doing one block from the Farms of Hawk Run Hollow. I actually have plans to start the whole thing. But this one block I'm doing to give to my husband's aunt, who, it's like a thing in our family. The men in my family love apple butter. My mother-in-law. My husband's aunt does a ton of canning, and she's always giving us canned goods, and the apple butter is like the biggest hit. My boys and my husband love it. I have lots of white fill-in there I need to finish. I am changing. I'm not going to fill in the sign, but it's supposed to say, like, I don't know. It's supposed to say Jenny's or something. I'm going to write Aunt Becky's, hopefully, apple butter up in the sign. So, making progress on that. I work on that when I'm at the Pam from Stitch in the Land of Good Enough does a Hawk Run Hollow Zoom once a month, and I work on that when I'm in the Zoom. I'm doing pretty well. I'm getting through stuff. All right, this is my temperature. It looks ridiculous. This is my temperature piece that I'm working on. I don't even know how to make this look better for you guys. Oh my goodness. I really don't. So it looks like a rat's nest, but it makes sense to me. I don't tie off, or I don't end a strand. I just keep the strands in and keep moving. I just keep using it until it's used up. I don't tie it off until I've used the whole thing. So here's my temperature piece. This is Temperature Quaker from Stitch and Mommy. I am using my own colors. I'm using Anchor Floss on the spools that my kids picked out for me instead of the colors that Stitch and Mommy suggested. So do know that. I think I've said it before. I think Stitch and Mommy's colors blend a lot better than mine, but that's okay. I'm still enjoying it. I'm like what I consider caught up. So this is July. I stitch it every like week or two, usually on a Sunday, and I didn't do it this week. So I still need to finish July and then start September. I keep track of it. I do forget sometimes, and I need to search. Like I go, usually Weather Underground is what I use. I'll search for the temperature there. But most days I just write it down on my calendar. My calendar is usually downstairs. If I often will like be upstairs for the night, and I'm like, oh, I didn't write down the temperature, and this is downstairs, and I don't want to go downstairs. When that happens, I just screenshot my weather app, and then I can always go back and see what the high temperature was that day, and write it down when I have this with me. And it like records the day that I took the screenshot, so I know what day it goes with and all of that. I've had several people ask me how I keep track. This is the calendar. Excuse me. Let me get a sip of water. I shouldn't have done that. That's okay. Moving on. Never mind. You guys have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm a hot mess today. I'll get back in the groove. I use one of these, the Book of Days, and I love it. This is how I keep track of my stitching. I don't plan out because as soon as I make a plan, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But I just write down like what I've done on that. Like at the end of the day, I'll just write down like the projects I worked on, cross stitching, quilting, knitting, like whatever. I just jot it down. That's what I do. What else was I going to say about this calendar? I don't remember. I write down on here like when I filmed. It works for me. And then if I'm more organized, like let's say it's only been 2 or 3 weeks since a Flosstube, I can go to my calendar and see, okay, these are the projects I worked on, and I don't have to try to remember that. Since it's been so long since I did a Flosstube, I don't really need to do that today. And like I said, I wasn't going to try to grab every single thing. I do want to be doing Flosstubes more frequently than they've been recently, but I think during the school year it'll be easier. I'm not going to make any promises. Another thing I was saying, I'm not going to show you my Teresa wenzler because I didn't work on it almost at all summer. But that's something I need to get back to. I miss my Teresa wenzler so much. Sarah Stitch-A-Mommy was showing her Dragon Ride at her most recent Flosstube, or at least the most recent one that I saw. Oh my God, it made me so... And she was talking about the, so like on Sarah's Dragon Ride that she's doing, the man on the dragon is charted as over 1, but the dragon's over 2. But all the little areas around the over 1 man are then also charted in over 1. And it's the same thing for Princess and the Dragon that I'm doing. And that's like such a holdup for me because the over 1 chart is not part of the bigger chart. So in order to stitch that area, unless I want to have to come back in twice, once doing over 2 stitching and once doing over 1 stitching with the same color, which I don't want to do, I have to do like, I have to be following 2 charts at once, and it's just annoying. And anyway, it's been a long summer with not a lot of time to focus, so I haven't worked on it, but I want to get back to it. Optimally, I want to see it done by the end of the year. I don't know that that can happen, but I'm hoping it won't be too long past the end of the year if I can make that work. Okay, anyway, the next one I'm going to show you, I'm not going to tell you where I got it from because it turns out it was pirated. This is Milady's Chateau. It was originally published by Dimensions. It was a Dimensions Gold collection. I got a pirated copy by accident. I thought I was buying a legit kit. Turns out it wasn't. I agonized might be too strong of a word. I thought for a long time about what to do and whether to stitch this, knowing that it was pirated, yada, yada, yada. And eventually decided, yes, I bought it in good faith. I wasn't trying to buy a stolen copy. I paid good money for it. It came, it was a kit. I paid good money for it. It wasn't obviously a stolen. They actually used a picture of the actual kit in the listing. That's just not what arrived. Anyway, I'm stitching it. So I just pick this up every once in a while. Honestly, usually when I'm in the mood to stitch it. Sometimes I'm just in the mood to actually stitch with a hoop. Usually I stitch with a Q-snap, or sometimes, I can't say usually. I stitch all the ways. I stitch in hand, I stitch with a Q-snap, I stitch with a scroll rod, and sometimes I stitch with a hoop. And sometimes I'm in the mood for like hoop stitching, and so this comes out. So I don't have a ton done, just kind of up in the corner. But that's fun to work on from time to time. Is that all my stitching? I'm going to get another sip of water. Okay, so I want to talk about Keepsakes. So I went to, they have these, I don't remember what they're called. They have these just like one-day retreats. I think they do 2 of them each summer. Excuse me. So Catherine had suggested, Needleberry Stitcher Catherine, that she and I saw each other at Stitch North, and she suggested, so Keepsakes is almost like right in between us. So she suggested, hey, do you want to meet? Like, do you want to spend a weekend and meet? And then she found out that they do these one-day retreats, and we decided to plan it for one of those weekends. I had a blast. My table mates were amazing. Had so much fun. And I had every intention of filming this right after I got back, and it just never happened. But I had a wonderful time. I got to meet wonderful people. I just don't have enough good things to say. I also got to go to Keepsakes for the first time, which was amazing. It was overwhelming. I haven't been in an LNS in a long time. And like I don't want to say a real LNS. I haven't been in a modern LNS in a long time. It was wonderful. The models were amazing. So many models on the walls. For those of you who haven't been, it's just in like an old house, and every room has stitching stuff in it, and you're just going through the house. And like upstairs, each room has, like each of the bedrooms has a theme. It was, or at least one theme to it. And like they've got Christmas stuff here and Halloween stuff there and patriotic here, you know, it's all over. It was wonderful. And I actually still have a bunch of stuff on order with them because there were a lot of models that I liked. Most of the models I liked, they didn't have the chart for. They were out of. Of course, I went like right after StitchCon, so probably they were out of a lot of things from StitchCon. So they said they'd order a bunch of stuff for me, but I probably need to like check in with them and see how that's going. But it was so much fun. So let me show you what I got. First, let me show you Catherine, who's amazing. So Catherine lives right near Color and Cotton. Oh my God. That sounds amazing. I would be so poor. Anyway, Catherine brought me this lovely, lovely gift of fabric, which she absolutely did not have to do, and that's showing pretty true to color. I was very grateful for. It's wonderful, and I can't wait to pick a Mirabilia to go on it. It is, oh, it's a limited edition, so it doesn't have a specific color. It's beautiful, and I think of Mirabilia, one of the like flower ladies, you know, like one of the ladies named after flowers, is gonna look amazing on here. I can't wait. So that was lovely. Thank you, Catherine. That was very thoughtful of you. Catherine like planned the whole weekend for us. She did awesome. She like found us an Airbnb, which I've never done Airbnb before, so I had no idea how it worked. She like, it was amazing. She drove us around all weekend. It was awesome. Thank you, Catherine. I had a fantastic weekend. So when I say my summer was like super busy, it was busy with awesome stuff though, you know. Next summer I need to not do quite as much because it was a little too much this year. But it was busy with wonderful, wonderful stuff. Yeah, so I had a great summer, even though I was slammed. I have actually kept all of this stuff in this bag from Keepsakes since July. That's amazing. That's so not like me. All right, first, let me talk to you, excuse me, about these charts. All right, Birds of a Feather are out of print. They told me at Keepsakes that there's, I don't know, I don't know that I'm in the know, but they told me that I'm sorry if you can hear my dishwasher going, by the way, it just started making some more noise. That Birds of a Feather charts are not only out of print, but they're like, as per the designer's will, is never allowed to be back in print. I don't know. So they have these models on the wall. They, at Keepsakes, they have this one. So this is a series. This one's Le Printemps, which is spring, right? Spring. Yeah, because l'été is summer. They have spring and summer on the wall. And they're amazing. They're huge, but they're not very dense stitching. Like, it's just kind of sketched in there kind of stitching. It's mostly empty space. I want to see if there's not a good way to show you. There's really not. There's a lot of empty space. So not very dense stitching, but they are huge. Although I might do it on a higher count and with one strand. I don't know, we'll see. But I saw this model and fell in love. And so I start looking around and I found winter. So they had like so when you go to Keepsakes, there's models on the wall and then there's like baskets everywhere of patterns. And so if you see a model you like, you just need to look in the baskets nearby and hope you find the chart. I have to say it struck me as a bit chaotic. It was wonderful, but it was a bit tricky. And I'm going to explain why with this story. So I start looking in baskets right nearby the chart, and I found winter, and I found, nope, autumn. I couldn't find spring and summer. But it was a spring model on the wall. Anyway, so I assumed all of them would be together. So I went downstairs and I asked, and they said, oh yeah, we don't have spring or summer anymore. We haven't had those for a long time. We can't get them anymore. The designer's out of print, yada, yada, yada. And I asked, I was like, so if you had the chart, it would be with that spring, like, and they're like, yeah, that's where it would be. That's not where they were. So I was like, oh, shoot. I was like, it's okay. I'll find them on the secondary market, whatever. So anyway, I don't know how long Catherine and I were there. It might have been hours. I have no idea. It was amazing. But later I saw a model for summer. But the model for summer is like, so if you're going down the stairs, and I'm old enough now that the stairs were a little like, but I didn't fall. It was okay. But if you look up, which is not where I should be looking when going down an old staircase, but if you look up over the stairwell as you're going down, that's where the model of summer is. So I'm like, well, maybe there's one in that basket. And so I go down there and I found summer. I was like, yes, no, I only need to find spring. Well, then I found spring in another basket somewhere else. Where's spring? Found spring in a basket somewhere else, I think in the room. I want to say it was in the room with like the Valentines and like eating the St. Patrick's Day stuff, but I'm not certain about that. So the moral of my story is that if there's a chart you want and you're at Keepsakes, go on a treasure hunt. Even if they don't have it, and it's out of print, go on a treasure hunt. Try, because it might be there somewhere. I was very happy. I mean, I ended up with all 4 of them that I really love these. I really want to stitch them very badly. I would not have, I mean, this was kind of like my #1 buy from Keepsakes, right? Like I wouldn't have gone to all that trouble for something that I was like, eh. Like, I'm not going to go to the secondary market, right, for something I'm like, eh. Well, then I didn't even need to go to the secondary market because they had them all. They were just hidden. They were hidden in places that even the employees of Keepsakes didn't know they were hidden in. So stick with it. If you go to Keepsakes and you see something and you want it, you never know. It might be there somewhere. Okay, what else did I get? I got a couple of fabrics. This is, what is it? Weeks Dye Works Gunmetal. They wrote a fat 3/8 of a yard. I have to look at the actual measurements. 35 count. And this is Old Weeks on Wishelt. But I love it. I'm gonna have a lot of cleaning up to do. And I also got this 32 count fat half of Peoria Purple from Weeks. Isn't it beautiful? My experience with, oh, don't quote me, but my experience with Weeks is that it is not color fast. Like, you know, you can't wash it. It's not wash fast, I should say. But that's okay. I need to know that going in, and I'll plan for it. What else? I got this project bag. I've seen this before. Who makes these? I don't remember. You can buy it as a chart also. Like you can, and I think you can turn it into a needle book. And it's adorable, but I have so much stash, right, that I've definitely reached the point where I'm buying less and also thinking about like, yeah, I love that, but am I actually gonna stitch it? Like, do I love it more than so much of what I already have that I know it's gonna get stitched? And this is one of those things that I think it's adorable. I love the chart, but I also know I'm not gonna actually stitch it. They had a project bag, so project bag it is. I also got, I love these things. I have another chart from this company with my needle that I haven't stitched yet, but I love smalls that stitch up into like usable items, and I think this little family of turtles is adorable. They had a model, they had it stitched up, and I was in love with it. So it took me a while to find this one too, but we did eventually find it. It is, like, you do have to go hunting for charts there. It can be tricky. And if you can't find the chart, you don't know if you can't find the chart because they don't have it, or if you can't find the chart because it's just been put someplace different, which is a little confusing. It got me thinking a lot about how to organize a store, like if I ever had a store. And there's a store near me, there isn't anymore. There used to be a cross-stitch store near me, that I actually didn't love because the owners were really grumpy, but I loved the way they organized the charts for their models. So they had models all over the walls, and in the corner of each frame they just had a number or like a letter. I think they were all numbers though. They had a number, and if there wasn't a number on the model, it meant that the chart was not available. That was it. Chart's not available. So you knew, right? Like going in, like if you see a frame piece and there's no number, then the chart's not available. You have to go to the secondary market. If it had a number, you just told them at the front what number it was, and they had them all filed behind the counter, and they just pulled out the chart that you wanted. And it was so organized, and I loved it. And I think if I ever opened my own LNS, that is probably what I would do. Just to keep it from feeling so chaotic and like to help keep things organized. If you have a smaller shop, it's probably not as much of a problem, but with a shop as big as Keepsakes is with so much stuff, yeah, I think I would do something like that to keep things organized. So I bought things two places. So I bought things at Keepsakes, but then also they had some pop-up shops and trunk shows at the Stitch Day the next day. So I bought some things in each place. That I can't show you because it's just a chart. This is an applique, a wool applique thing that I bought. They had models for it, and it comes with a wool pack. Just to make these little pillows, which I thought were adorable. Oh, Freya's on the move. 1 minute. 1 minute, okay? 1 minute. She wants attention. They had models for these, and these are the kinds of little smalls that I love. I don't think these have linen in them. No, they don't have linen in them, but they do have the floss and the buttons. I love these small little types of things that you can stitch up nice and quickly. Freya! No! She's nose punching my light and stand. This I picked up at Keepsakes itself. You need to wait 1 minute. Or not at Keepsakes itself, at the retreat the next day. Because, so I didn't realize, so this is Keepsakes. And I guess every time they have a designer do a chart for them. The designer puts 310, their cat, in the chart somewhere. So I picked up that. And then I picked up a couple of things from JBW Designs. This, again, makes a little scissor holder. I love this kind of thing. And then also these charts for 'Twas the Night. I think I'm going to do them all as one big piece. So these are 'Twas the Night ornaments. And they have the buttons in them, or the charms. Buttons and charms. Oh, sorry, I just showed a chart. I didn't mean to show the chart. Pretend I didn't do that. But they've got the charms in there. I'll see if I can bleep that out, but I don't think I can. I don't think my skills will allow it. Anyway, I'm going to do these all as one big piece. They had like a model up of them stitched as one. I apologize. My dog clearly wants attention. I'll have to pause in a minute. And then I got this because my kids will love it. My husband loved it too. It says, if one door closes and another door opens, your house is probably haunted. And it's a pretty quick stitch. And yeah, I'm going to do that. I'd actually like to get it started this fall, although it probably won't be finished this fall. I'm going to pause one more time. My dog is standing on Royal Holiday's face. Her paws better be clean. All right, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm back again for part 3. I'm almost done now. I'm going to get crinkly for a minute. I also found, I was talking about Cross Stitch Boutique and their fabric. This was the piece that I had ordered. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. I want to say I ordered it, I don't know, a year or more ago. I don't know. It was a long time ago. And it's beautiful. It's much more than what I usually go for in a fabric. But it's beautiful. This one's called Easter Parade. And I just wanted to show it because I did eventually get it. So, yeah, it's beautiful. I'll put it back in later. So, now I want to talk about fabric and explain a little more about how busy I've been this summer. Freya, come. Come. Good girl. Come on. She just wants attention. I know. You just want attention. Okay, so here's what's going on. That's kind of a long story. A lot of you have seen me with in one way or another with my hand-dyed fabric before. Because I do know how to dye. I started dyeing, I don't know how many years ago. And I started with wool. I've taken several classes on dyeing. So, and then I've done a lot of it myself. So I started with yarn, wool yarn, and also silk, and then moved on to cotton and other fibers, like nylon and yak and alpaca and all kinds of things. So I've learned, and my background's chemistry, so I love this kind of stuff. So I've learned how to dye with acid dyes, with fiber reactive dyes. I've done a lot of natural dyeing. Indigo baths, I've shown my indigo fabric on here many times. Indigo counts as natural dyeing because it comes from a plant. We've done dandelions, black beans, cochineal. They're a bug that you dye with. I believe they're native to the American Southwest and to Mexico, and you dye with them. You get these vibrant pinks. We've done madder root. I'm sure. Turmeric is an easy one that I've done lots of. Tea and coffee dyeing is a type of natural dyeing that some people have done, but a lot of you may have done it. But there's lots of other great natural ways to get colors too. Anyway, dyeing is something I've been passionate about for a long time, and but it's always something I've just kind of dabbled in because I can only dye so much. Like I can only use so much yarn at a time. I can only, use so much cross-stitch fabric in my lifetime. It doesn't make sense for me to be doing enormous quantities of it for just me, because there's just only so much I can use, right? And at some point it starts to overrun my house. I can tell you, I've dyed quilting fabric and fabric for garments before. The yarn in this house is out of control. It's so much bulkier. I also have a lot of roving. It's so much bulkier. Roving, for those of you who don't know, that you spin into yarn. Yarn is so much bulkier than cross-stitch projects that it just takes up a lot more space. Of my various hobbies, cross-stitch takes up the smallest amount of space in my house. So anyway, then I've been dyeing for years, always wanted to do more of it. When the pandemic hit, I have to say, dyeing, like my dyeing bug went through the roof, and I started dyeing like everything in my house I could. It didn't even matter if it was white to start with, which I'm glad I did that because, and I'd already dyed some yarns that weren't white to start with, but you can get some really great effects by not using a white base. But anyway, I started doing a ton of dyeing at the beginning of the pandemic. Went through my entire stash of like natural yarns, all my white and near white cross-stitch fabrics, quilting fabrics, all kinds of things were getting dyed. And I ended up with a stack kind of like this. And this is just some of it, I have to say. So it's not all of it. This is just some of it. Now, there's a lot of greens and blues here and some purples because that's what I like to stitch on. It's the vast majority of what I stitch on. So that's most of what I dyed. Because my intention was that these fabrics would be for me. And I did recently go and do a bunch of destash of my, some of my fabrics. Some of them that I had dyed and some of them that other people have dyed. If you're interested in any of those, please, by all means, feel free to go to my Instagram, which is also Fiber Arts Amy, because some of them have not been claimed. If you're interested in buying any of those, I'd be happy to send them on to you. But yeah, this is what I spent a lot of time doing just for myself. And I didn't keep any records because I was just playing and I was just doing it for me, right? With no intention to sell. Well, over the last, well, I don't even know, as long as I've been doing Flosstube, I think, I've had people here and there asking me if I could dye fabric for them, if they could buy some of my hand-dyed fabric. And I've always said no. Until pretty recently when I started destashing some stuff. And I've dyed some pieces for some friends. Maggie's got a piece that I know some of you have seen, Kitschy Whips. Have I said Kitschy Whips yet? She's the one I'm doing the Queen City Stitch Retreat with. But she's doing a long dog sampler on a piece that I dyed. Anyway, I've had requests, and then recently I started getting more requests, kind of like there was a huge uptick in people asking for my hand-dyed fabric. And I also, earlier this year, was starting to think about going back to work. Most of you know, if you've watched my channel before, I'm mostly a stay-at-home mom. I started my professional life as a chemist. Didn't like it. I love chemistry. I didn't like the job I was doing, that I was involved in. I switched to teaching, which I love. I've been a substitute teacher now for many years. I also worked as a chemistry professor, because chemist and loving teaching, chemistry professor was a pretty obvious kind of switch. I'm going to ramble on about life, and there's going to be a big announcement at the end of this. I am so scatterbrained. I am sorry, Freddie. You were sitting through this. But I promise I have a point, and I'm getting somewhere with this. So I worked as a chemistry professor. I've worked as a 6th grade science teacher. I'm a substitute teacher these days. My teaching license is not valid in the state that I'm in. So that's why I'm not going back to teaching full time. But I started thinking about going back to work. It's time. But I don't want a 9-to-5. You guys don't need to know all this. I'm going to tell you anyway. I don't want a 9-to-5 job because my kids are still very high maintenance. Like, they're old enough that I have a lot more free time, right? That's what I've been using to craft. But I need a sip of water. I'd like to start making some money. I'd like to start doing something in a professional capacity again. I don't necessarily want to substitute teach more than I do. Subbing is, I love teaching a lot more than I love subbing. That's all. It's hard to do on a like temporary basis. So the obvious solution that I feel like, so some people have been asking me to do this for a long time. And I feel like it took some arm twisting, but it was actually one of my kids that finally convinced me to do it. The big announcement is I am starting a hand-dyed fabric company. Ta-da! I officially have a company. The name of my company is Oak Crown Studios. I will write the name below. I can't give you my URL yet because I haven't finished building the website. Part of what I have been very busy doing this summer is getting my company going. Getting the things I need to get, getting registered as a business, getting the tax ID number. There's stuff I had to do in Pennsylvania to like register as a business separate from and I hate all this. You all should know I never wanted to own a business. Like owning a business, I actively did not want to ever do. But I really want to hand-dye fabric and be able to sell it. So now I own a business. This is the long and short of it. So getting all the chemical, I haven't even been home half the summer, but getting all the chemicals in stock, the fabric in stock, getting it cut, serge. I had to learn how to use my serger. I have a serger that's sat in my basement, I mean, for at least a dozen years. It's been there since somebody gifted it to me when we lived in Florida, and it moved here with us a dozen years ago, and it's just been sitting in the basement the whole time. I've never used it. I had to learn how to use my serger. Just all these things, right, that I had to do to get this going. So, but I'm almost there. I'm almost at the finish line of being able to actually sell fabric to those of you who want to buy fabric, which is what this stack here behind me is. This is some of the fabric that I've been dyeing. Just some of it. There's a lot more. And of course, so I'm sure I will sell like one-offs from time to time, but I've been dyeing and actually keeping track of the recipes so that I can recreate them, so I can have standard colors. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about these right now because I can't sell them to you just yet. This week I'm hoping to finish up doing the website and getting it up and all that. And once the website is up, I will announce that, and hopefully a lot of you will want to buy my fabric. These are just, like I said, just a small sampling of some of the colors. I'll have lighter, more subtle colors. I will have darker, more vibrant colors. I will have crazier colors and more subtle things and all over the map and all shades of the rainbow. And if you have any requests, let me know, and I will do my best. I will put out a video when everything is ready to go, so that with an actual link to my website, so that you all can start shopping. I hope you guys are excited about this. I am crazy excited about it. I can't believe I'm starting a business. It's awesome though. Like, it's so stressful. But also so stinking awesome. And I have so much fabric all over my house. I can't wait to share like the names of different individual fabrics with you guys. My daughter's been totally into this, and she really wants to pick fabric names. So she's been like coming up with fabric names. And last night I was getting some stuff ready to dye, and she wanted to do one. I was like, yeah, go ahead, do it, right? If it works out, it works out, right? I'll put it up on the website. Somebody might want it. She came up with the best name for it. So she dyes this fabric with like pinks and greens and like oranges and yellows and then like golden brown around the edges. And I was like, and she's like, I can't, she wouldn't tell me the name. She's like, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to see if you can guess. So she dyes this like beautiful, beautiful fabric. And then she's like, do you know the name? I was like, no, what's the name? And she says, it's Coral Garden. It's like, oh my God, Madison. It's perfect. I love the name, and it's perfect for the fabric that she dyed. So I can't show it to you right now because it is still steeping in the dye downstairs. I will be rinsing it out later today. But yay, I'm excited. I'm really, really excited. And I hope you guys are excited too. And I thought about waiting to tell everybody. I mean, I've been kind of teasing it on Instagram for a couple of weeks. I thought about waiting to tell anybody until like the website was up and 100% ready to go. But that still might be, it might be a few days. It might be a week or even 2 if I run into lots of problems while doing it, because the website I've barely started to tackle. I wanted you guys to know what's going on. I want people to be as excited as I am. I want to share my excitement with everybody because you guys have become, you know, my community over the last couple of years. We've passed my 2-year Flosstube anniversary, which was in July, I think. Might have been June. It was this summer. I'm super excited. And part of the reason I haven't been around is because I've been dyeing fabric. But not only dyeing fabric, but cutting it and serging it and measuring it and all these other things that kind of go into doing it as a business and not just doing like one-off pieces for myself. Yay, fabric! So this is the sort of thing you can expect, but I mean, this is only like 6 colors or something. This is a tiny sampling. There's going to be lots more coming. And even once I do get the website up, I also didn't want to get the website up until I had like at least a dozen colors or so for people to choose from. But even like when the website goes up day 1, that's still only going to be like a tiny sample of what will ultimately be available, because I have so many ideas. I have so many ideas for what I want to do with this and the colors that I want to create. And I'm really excited. I could sit here saying I'm really excited for hours, probably. It's just, I hope it goes well because I'm really happy about it. But yeah, I'm hoping this, now that my kids are in school, that this fall I can get back to some of the cross-stitch projects that are most meaningful to me. My Teresa wenzlers, like that flower fairy piece. I'm going to be doing a lot of dyeing. And hopefully a lot of stitching on, I can stitch on my own fabrics. And I'm excited to be able to reproduce the colors too. Okay, I'm just babbling. I'm gonna go and try to get this edited together and up so y'all can enjoy it. I hope you guys had a great summer. Hopefully over the next couple months I'm gonna catch up with people's floss tubes so that if you do have a floss tube and I have no idea what you've been up to recently, I'll be able to catch up. Anyway, hope to see you guys soon.